Rules of the House. Excerpted from the Rules of Procedure for the 2023 regular session of the House of Representatives. This video will give an overview of each of the rules to be followed during the 2023 regular session of the House of Representatives. The full set of rules may be found on the website of the Kentucky General Assembly. Introduction. Rule 1. Hours of meeting. The House shall meet at times set by the Committee on Committees. Rule 2. Quorum. A majority of the members elected to the House shall constitute a quorum. Rule 3. Call of the House. Upon a call of the House, the clerk shall call the roll. Order of business. Rule 4. Order of business. The order of business shall be as follows. 1. Invocation. 2. Pledge of Allegiance. 3. Roll call. 4. Reading and approval of the journal. 5. Introduction of guests. 6. Second reading of bills. 7. Report of committees and first reading of bills. 8. Orders of the day. 9. Motions, petitions, communications, and announcements. 10. Introduction of bills and resolutions. 11. Meeting and report of the Committee on Committees and the Rules Committee. 12. Floor amendments. 13. Adjournment. You can see these in action by viewing the video of a legislative day in the House. Rule 4A. Order of business on first day of the 2023 regular session. 1. Invocation. 2. Pledge of Allegiance. 3. Certificates of election. 4. Administration of oath to members. 5. Roll call. 6. Election of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. 7. Election of Speaker pro tempore of the House of Representatives. 8. Election of constitutional officers. 9. Approval of the journal. 10. Special first day introduction of guests. 11. Report of party leadership elections. 12. Motions, petitions, communications, and announcements. 13. Introduction of bills and resolutions. 14. Meeting and report of the Committee on Committees and the Rules Committee. 15. Introduction of floor amendments. 16. Adjournment. You can see these by viewing the video of the first day of the House session. Rule 5. Unfinished business. Unfinished business which was being considered upon adjournment shall have precedence in the class of business to which it properly belongs upon the next succeeding legislative day.
Motions. Rule 6. Reading of motions. When a motion has been made and seconded, it shall be stated by the Speaker, or, being in written form, it shall be read by the clerk before debate, amendment or motion concerning it shall be in order. Rule 7. Withdrawal of motions. Every oral motion after it has been stated by the Speaker, and every written motion, bill, resolution, or other paper, after it has been read by the clerk, shall be the property and in the possession of the House and shall not be withdrawn without consent of the House. Every written motion, report or measure may be committed or recommitted at the pleasure of the House. Rule 8. Order of questions. All questions, whether in committee of the whole or in the House, when not privileged questions, shall be propounded in the order in which they were moved, except that in filling blanks the smallest sum and the most remote date shall be put first. Rule 9. Precedence of motions. When a question is under consideration, no motion shall be in order except 1. To call the House when there is no quorum present. 2. To fix the time to which the House shall adjourn. 3. To adjourn. 4. To take recess. 5. To lay on the table. 6. For the previous question. 7. To limit or extend limits of debate. 8. To postpone to a fixed time. 9. To lay on the clerk's desk. 10. To refer or commit. 11. To amend. 12. To postpone indefinitely. Rule 10. Motion to adjourn. A motion to adjourn, to take a recess, or a motion to adjourn to a time certain, shall always be in order, except when a member is speaking, while a vote is being taken, or when the Committee on Committees is reporting. Subject, however, to the limitations set out in Rule 9.
Rule 11. Motion to table. The adoption of the motion to table under these rules defeats the subject matter under consideration. The reconsideration of the motion to table shall require approval of a majority of the members elected. Rule 12. Previous question. The previous question may be ordered by a 3/5 majority of the members elected. Rule 13. Motion to set the limits on debate. A motion to set a time limit for debate on a measure, which may include a time limit for explanation of votes, in excess of that permitted under Rule 12, shall be in order unless the previous question shall have been ordered on the measure. Rule 14. Motion to reconsider. A motion to reconsider a vote shall not be in order unless made by a member who voted upon the prevailing side of the question, nor shall that motion be in order unless made within 2 legislative days in which the House is in session next after the date the vote was taken and the bill or resolution is in the possession of the House. However, the motion to reconsider when coupled with the additional motion to lay that motion upon the table may be made by any member. Rule 15. Motion to lay on clerk's desk. The effect of the adoption of a motion to lay on the clerk's desk under these rules is to place in charge of the clerk the pending question and everything adhering to it.
Rule 16. Motion to strike out enacting clause. A motion to amend by striking out the enacting words of a bill or resolution shall have precedence over a motion to amend and, if adopted, shall have the same effect as though the bill or resolution were regularly voted upon and rejected. Rule 17. Motion to separate part of a measure. A motion to commit, recommit, or postpone a part of a measure so as to separate that part of the measure from the remainder shall not be in order. Rule 18. Postponement of measure. When a measure shall have been postponed indefinitely, it shall not be in order again during the session. Rule 19. Reading of pending papers. Any pending bill, resolution, motion or report shall be read upon the request of any member, with the concurrence of a majority of the members elected to the House, but it shall not again be read on the same day unless so ordered by the House. Rule 20. Nominations. In all elections, a previous nomination shall be made.
Members. Rule 21. Attendance of members. No member shall be absent from a session of the House without leave from the House. Rule 22. Decorum of members. No member shall designate another member by name. All members shall treat fellow members with the utmost courtesy and respect. All members' remarks in debate shall be confined to the subject under debate, avoiding personality. A sign, poster, or any other object, the purpose of which can be reasonably construed to indicate support or opposition to any measure before the House, and which is large enough to be generally visible from the chair, shall not be displayed in the House chamber or in a member's Capitol Annex office during any session when remote voting is authorized pursuant to House Rule 67A, by any member while the House is in session. Rule 22A. Point of personal privilege. To be in order, a point of personal privilege must relate to allegations regarding the rights, reputation, or conduct of a member personally, in the member's capacity as a representative, that, if true, would incapacitate them for membership. Rule 22B. Required training. Each member of the House shall complete workplace harassment prevention training at the beginning of each session of the General Assembly. Rule 23. Call to order. If any member, in speech or otherwise, transgresses the rules of order or decorum, the member shall immediately be called to order by the chair and shall be seated. Rule 24. Debate. No member may speak more than once to the same subject until all members desiring to be heard have spoken, but nothing in this rule shall do away with the previous question if then in effect, nor permit debate on an undebatable motion. Rule 25. Members shall vote at seats. Except when remote voting is authorized pursuant to House Rule 67A or alternative voting is authorized pursuant to House Rule 68A, a member shall vote only when at the member's seat or visibly approaching it.
Officers and employees. Rule 26. Duties of Speaker. The Speaker shall take the chair every day precisely at the hour fixed for the meeting of the House and on the appearance of a quorum, shall cause the journal of the preceding day to be read, unless the reading of the same is dispensed with by the House. Rule 27. Appeal from decision of chair. The speaker while presiding may speak to points of order in preference to members. The speaker shall decide points of order and manner of procedure. If two or more members arise from their respective seats and address the chair, the speaker shall determine who was first and recognize that member. Rule 28. Speaker pro tempore. The House shall elect a speaker pro tempore. The speaker pro tempore shall perform the duties of the speaker in the absence of the speaker or when empowered by the speaker to perform the duties of the chair. Rule 29. Duties of the clerk. The clerk shall have charge of all clerical, technical and procedural matters which relate to legislation, including but not limited to notification of committees of their appointment and business referred to them. Keeping a calendar showing such bills as are entitled to their second reading each day, distinguishing between House and Senate bills. Supervising the engrossing and enrolling of bills. And such other matters as are assigned by the Committee on Committees. The clerk shall read to the House papers ordered to be read. Call the roll and note the answers of members when a question is taken by yeas and nays. Assist the speaker in taking the count when any vote of the House is taken. Attest all writs, warrants, and subpoenas issued by order of the House. Certify to the passage of all bills and to the adoption of all joint and concurrent resolutions by the General Assembly, and make all reports to the Senate. The clerk shall perform such other duties as are assigned by the Committee on Committees. Rule 29A. Duties of the Legislative Research Commission. The Legislative Research Commission staff shall have charge of clerical and administrative functions as assigned by the clerk and shall cooperate with the clerk to facilitate the work of the House. Rule 30. Journal of Proceedings. The clerk shall cause to be kept the journal of the proceedings of the House.
Rule 31. Custody of papers. The clerk shall have custody of all records, minutes, reports, and documents pertaining to legislation, and shall not allow them to be taken from his or her possession without the leave of the House, unless to be delivered to the chair of a committee to which they have been referred or to the Legislative Research Commission. Rule 32. Accounts of expenditures. The Legislative Research Commission shall keep the accounts for pay and mileage of members, officers, and attachés, and for printing and other contingent expenses of the House and Senate. Rule 33. Printing of House papers. The Legislative Research Commission shall have supervision and charge of all printing done for the House as certified by the clerk, and the public printer shall print only such documents and other matter as the Legislative Research Commission authorizes. Rule 34. Duties of the Sergeant-at-Arms. It shall be the duty of the Sergeant-at-Arms and the doorkeeper to exclude or remove all persons not entitled to the floor of the House. Rule 35. Appointment and conduct of constitutional employees. The constitutional employees of the House shall be appointed by election during the regular sessions of the General Assembly and shall serve one-year terms or until the election of their successors. Rule 36. Other employees. All other professional, clerical and other services required by the House or its committees shall be furnished by the Legislative Research Commission, upon the request of the Committee on Committees. Employees performing such services shall be under the supervision of the Committee on Committees.
Committees. Rule 37. Committee on Committees. There shall be a Committee on Committees composed of the Speaker of the House, the Speaker pro tempore, the Majority Caucus Chair, the Majority Floor Leader of the House, the Majority Whip, the Minority Floor Leader of the House, the Minority Caucus Chair, and the Minority Whip. Rule 38. Standing Committees. The following shall be the standing committees of the House. 1. Agriculture. 2. Appropriations and Revenue. 3. Banking and Insurance. 4. Economic Development and Workforce Investment. 5. Education. 6. Elections, Constitutional Amendments and Intergovernmental Affairs. 7. Families and Children. 8. Health Services. 9. Judiciary. 10. Licensing, Occupations and Administrative Regulations. 11. Local Government. 12. Natural Resources and Energy. 13. Small Business and Information Technology. 14. State Government. 15. Tourism and outdoor recreation. 16. Transportation. 17. Veterans, military affairs, and public protection. Rule 39. Appointment of committees. The Committee on Committees shall appoint the chair, vice chairs, and the members of all standing and special committees, and shall fill any vacancies thereon. Rule 40. Jurisdiction of standing committees. The Committee on Committees shall refer each bill to the committee with control over the subject matter. All bills and resolutions on the same subject matter shall be referred to the same committee. The general jurisdiction of the several standing committees can be found in the rules document posted online.
Rule 41. Rules Committee. There shall be a Rules Committee composed of the Speaker of the House, the Speaker pro tempore, the Majority Floor Leader, the Majority Caucus Chair, the Majority Whip, the Minority Floor Leader, the Minority Caucus Chair, and the Minority Whip. Rule 42. Liaison Subcommittees. The Committee on Appropriations and Revenue shall be divided into the following 8 standing subcommittees of no more than 10 members each. 1. Subcommittee on Economic Development, Public Protection, Tourism and Energy. 2. Subcommittee on Personnel, Public Retirement and Finance. 3. Subcommittee on General Government. 4. Subcommittee on Justice, Public Safety and Judiciary. 5. Subcommittee on Primary and Secondary Education and Workforce Development. 6. Subcommittee on Post-Secondary Education. 7. Subcommittee on Transportation. 8. Subcommittee on Health and Family Services. Rule 42A. Budget Review. The Standing Budget Review Subcommittees shall notify the membership of the standing substantive committees whose jurisdictional area will be affected by their action of any meetings or hearings, and the members of the standing committees may participate as non-voting members. Rule 43. Enrollment Committee. The Committee on Committees shall appoint an enrollment committee of not more than 7 members. The Enrollment Committee shall be responsible for the engrossment and enrollment of bills and resolutions. Rule 44. Conference Committees. When a House bill has been amended in the Senate and the House refuses to concur in the amendment, or when a Senate bill has been amended in the House and the Senate refuses to concur in the amendment, and when neither will recede from that action, the Committee on Committees shall appoint a conference committee to meet a like committee from the Senate. Rule 44A. Majority and Minority Caucuses. The Majority Caucus of the House of Representatives shall consist of all House members of majority party affiliation. The Minority Caucus of the House of Representatives shall consist of all House members of minority party affiliation. The Majority and Minority Caucuses of the House of Representatives shall be committees, other than standing committees, of the House of Representatives and General Assembly. Rule 45. Meetings of Committees. No committee except the Committee on Committees, the Enrollment Committee and a conference committee between the House and the Senate shall sit while the House is in session, unless by consent of the House. The Committee on Committees and Enrollment Committee may report at any time except during roll call or while a vote is being taken.
Rule 46. Committee Reports. No bill or resolution shall be considered by the House except on report of committee. Rule 47. Standing and Special Committee Reports. It shall require a majority of the committee membership to report a bill or resolution. The chair shall keep a record of the vote of each member on the disposition of each bill, and shall report the total vote on each side to the House. The chair may sign reports on behalf of a majority of the committee members. The chair's signature shall attest to the action of a majority, but shall not be construed as the chair's personal approval or disapproval of the bill. Rule 48. Discharge Petition. Whenever a committee fails or refuses to report within a reasonable time a bill submitted to it, a member may sponsor and file with the clerk a written request, signed by 25 or more members, to call the same up for consideration on the next succeeding legislative day after the filing of the request. Rule 49. Procedure in Committee. The rules of procedure in the House shall be observed in committee insofar as the same are applicable. Any bill or resolution referred to a committee by the Committee on Committees shall be considered eligible for consideration and action, thereon by the committee at the discretion of the committee chair. Rule 50. Form of bills. All bills introduced shall be printed on the computerized bill preparation system of the Legislative Research Commission, and none otherwise prepared shall be accepted for introduction. Rule 51. Introduction of bills. A member may introduce bills and resolutions by filing them with the House Clerk on the floor or in the clerk's office at any time. The office is open. The member filing the bill or resolution shall be the primary sponsor of the bill or resolution, and with the sponsor's permission, one member may sign the bill as primary co-sponsor. Other members may co-sponsor the bill or resolution only with the sponsor's permission and by either filing the proper papers with the clerk, or by indicating their desire to co-sponsor the bill or resolution in the Legislative Research Commission remote voting system, or, upon motion by the primary sponsor of a simple resolution to allow co-sponsorship by a roll call vote, made immediately following adoption of the resolution, by indicating their desire to co-sponsor the resolution by an affirmative vote.
Rule 52. Statutory fiscal impact statements. The staff of the Legislative Research Commission shall analyze and prepare a fiscal statement for any bill which, if enacted, would fiscally affect local governments in a significant manner through the imposition of a local mandate. Constitute a mandated health benefit. Change the financial liability of any public retirement system administered by an agency of state government. Or fiscally affect state or local correction services in a significant manner, including any bill which would modify or create a criminal penalty or otherwise affect the population of a correctional system or facility. Rule 52A. Member requested fiscal notes. A sponsor of a bill which, if enacted, would affect the revenues or expenditures of the Commonwealth generally, may at any time by request cause the staff of the Legislative Research Commission to analyze and prepare a fiscal note for the measure describing such impacts on revenues or expenditures. The fiscal note, if requested, shall be delivered to the sponsor. Rule 53. Member requested fiscal notes and statutory fiscal impact statements for amendments. Any member proposing an amendment from the floor for a measure to which a fiscal note or fiscal statement has been attached shall cause an amended fiscal note or fiscal statement, as appropriate, to be prepared and attached to the amendment. Rule 54. Reference of bills. The Committee on Committees may refer a bill to the proper standing committee after the date of introduction. Rule 55. Printing of bills. Upon receipt of a bill, the Legislative Research Commission shall examine the form of the bill to ensure that it is free from errors of form or typography and has been assigned the proper KRS section or chapter numbers. Rule 56. Readings of bills. If a bill is reported with the expression of opinion that it should not pass, a vote may then be taken on whether it shall be read at length and be placed on the calendar, if a majority of the members elected to the House shall concur therein.
Rule 57. Calendar, consent calendar. 1. In order to reduce the time required for final passage of bills posted in the orders of the day, a consent procedure for the consideration of non-controversial bills shall be established and designated as follows. A. The clerk shall keep a regular calendar and a consent calendar for each legislative day showing the bills receiving their second reading. B. The clerk shall also keep a regular orders and a consent orders showing bills posted for final passage by the Rules Committee. 2. Bills reported by a standing committee with a regular should pass, or should pass with committee amendment/substitute attached. Recommendation shall be shown in the regular calendar on the day on which they are entitled to a second reading. 3. The Rules Committee may recommend that any House or Senate bill having been favorably reported by a standing committee be placed in the consent calendar, provided the bill receives a recommendation from the Rules Committee by a unanimous vote of the members present. Any House or Senate bill recommended for consent shall be placed in the consent calendar and shall continue to be shown in that calendar, until taken therefrom by the Rules Committee and posted in the consent orders. Bills receiving a second reading should be so designated to distinguish them from bills which have already received their second reading. 4. A certificate shall be attached to each bill recommended for the consent calendar showing the unanimous recommendation of the members of the Rules Committee present, signed by the Chair. 5. After a sufficient number of bills have accumulated in the consent calendar, the Rules Committee may post any or all of those bills to the consent orders for a day certain. On that day, the consent orders shall be called before the regular orders. 6. Upon the call of the consent orders, each bill in those orders shall be given a third reading by title only. The Speaker shall then allow a reasonable time for questions from the floor and any explanation necessary by the sponsor or committee chair. Consent order bills may not be amended from the floor. 7. The clerk shall attach a roll call to each bill in the consent calendar, and any member may at any time prior to passage of the consent orders record with the clerk a nay or pass vote on any bill within the consent calendar or consent orders. 8. Upon the call for the question on the consent orders, the Speaker shall instruct the clerk to announce the nay and pass votes previously filed on each bill in the consent orders. All other members present in the chamber on the day and at the time the consent orders are called shall be considered as having voted aye, and the roll call attached to each bill shall so reflect as the final vote. Rule 58. Orders of the day. When a bill has had its second reading, it shall be referred to the Rules Committee for consideration of whether it shall be placed in the orders of the day or be recommitted, and when next reached in the House it shall be ready for recommitment, or to be read a third time and placed upon its passage, and the Speaker shall so announce to the House. Rule 59. Final passage. When a House bill has been amended in the Senate and the House has concurred in the amendment, or a Senate bill has been amended in the House, but the Senate refuses to concur, and the House recedes from its amendment, the bill shall immediately be placed upon its passage. Rule 60. Amendments to bills. All amendments offered shall be on sheets with a proper heading printed in black, furnished by the Commission staff, and shall bear the signature and district number of the members offering the same. An amendment prepared for one member but signed by another shall be considered the amendment of the member signing the amendment.
Rule 61. Engrossment of bills. Every House bill and joint resolution, together with the amendments thereto, which has been passed by the House and not subject to further amendment or motion, shall be engrossed by the clerk. Rule 62. Enrollment of bills. All House bills and resolutions which have passed both the Senate and the House shall be delivered by the clerk to the enrolling clerk, taking a receipt therefor, in the order in which passed. Rule 63. Signing of bills. The enrolling clerk of the House shall deliver the enrolled copies of House bills and resolutions signed by the Speaker to the Chair of the Enrollment Committee of the Senate for presentation to the President of the Senate for the President's signature. Rule 64. Resolutions. Resolutions having the force and effect of law shall be treated and considered as bills in all respects under these rules. A simple resolution expressing the will of the House shall upon its introduction be automatically referred to the Committee on Committees, which may refer it to the floor if it is honorary, benevolent, and does not direct further action; otherwise, it shall be referred to a standing committee. Rule 65. Legislative citations. For the purpose of extending the commendations, condolences or congratulations of the General Assembly to a particular person, or to recognize a particular event or occasion, there may be issued a legislative citation.
Voting. Rule 66. Roll call. Any member, with a second, may require a roll call on any matter pending before the House. The names of members shall be arranged alphabetically when taking a yea and nay vote. Any time these rules require a roll call vote, or a yea and a nay vote of the members, that vote may be taken by either a voice roll call or the electrical voting system, as ordered by the Speaker. Rule 67. Electrical voting system. When the House is ready to vote upon any question requiring a roll call, and the vote is to be taken by the electrical roll call system, the Speaker shall announce. The question is on the passage of, designating the matter to be voted upon. All in favor of the question shall vote yea, and all opposed shall vote nay. The House roll is now open for voting. Rule 67A. Remote voting permitted. At any time, the Speaker, or other presiding officer as specified in House Rule 26, may authorize remote voting procedures for the members on any matter pending before the House. At any time, a committee chair may authorize remote voting procedures for the members of the committee on any matter pending before the committee. Rule 67B. Vote modification. Following the close of any vote, a member may only enter a new vote or modify a previously cast vote by motion, and only if the member's vote will not change the outcome of the original vote on the measure.
Rule 68. Voting for others prohibited. Except when alternative voting is authorized pursuant to House Rule 68A, no member shall vote for another member, nor shall any person not a member cast a vote for a member. Rule 68A. Alternative voting for others permitted. If any member is diagnosed with COVID-19 or is under a quarantine order related to COVID-19, the Speaker, or other presiding officer as specified in House Rule 26, may authorize alternative voting procedures for the member. Rule 69. Pairing. All pairs announced in the House shall be entered on the journal. Rule 70. Adjournment extended during roll call. When the roll is being called and taking a yea and nay vote, and the hour of an adjournment arrives, the same shall stand extended until after the yea and nay vote has been completed and the result announced.
Privilege of the floor. Rule 71. Persons entitled to the floor. No person shall be permitted upon the floor of the House or within the members' offices on the third and fourth floor of the Capitol Annex, when the House is in session, and upon the floor of the House 1 hour before and after the House is in session, except the present members of the General Assembly, former members of the General Assembly, and all officers and employees of the General Assembly. Bona fide news media correspondents shall be admitted to the gallery when recommended by the Committee on Committees, and shall be governed by the rules of the House and assigned by the Committee on Committees to a media section specifically set aside for them. Rule 72. Restriction of lobbying and access to the House chambers and office areas. No person shall engage in lobbying for or against any measure while the House is in session, or in recess, in any of the corridors or passages or in any of the rooms in that part of the Capitol or Capitol Annex, assigned to the use of the House, and no registered lobbyist shall enter that part of the Capitol or the members' offices on the third and fourth floor of the Capitol Annex, while the House is in session. This rule shall not be construed to prohibit the use of the corridors or passages in going to and from the House gallery by any person. Rule 73. Restrictions. For purposes of this rule, material shall mean any letter, report, writing, article, booklet, pamphlet, image, photograph, object, or any other item, including any physical object or electronic transmission containing audio, video, or electronic communication, which is requested to be placed upon either the desk of a member on the House floor or in a member's office in the Annex.
Rules. Rule 74. Mason's Manual. In the absence of a specific rule of the House, the most recent edition of Mason's Manual of Legislative Procedure, as adopted by the National Conference of State Legislatures, shall govern the proceedings, except that in all cases where general parliamentary law provides for a rule of 2/3, it shall mean in this House a majority of all members elected thereto. Rule 75. Change of rules. The rules of the House, after their adoption, shall not be altered, changed, amended, suspended, or interrupted, unless the same be done by a majority of the members elected to the House.